For FY25, we're going to come in at $109,204,912. $109,204,912 at 3.16% increase from the previous year. Currently, in the general fund, we're at $1.3 million. You see each of the sewer, water, solid waste, and the two Comcast and Verizon funds that are there, right? We're going to present you a number of projects for you to consider and spending where possible and where it makes sense in cash for our projects to conserve our borrowing capacities. American Rescue Plan Act. This program is coming to an end. This will be the last year you'll have a brief from me. You might see the end of the ARPA funds as we finish out next year. We must have them encumbered and obligated by the end of this year. We started out with a balance of $8,273,487, right? As of today, in the non-entitlement unit, the money we received directly, we have $581,000. However, there are a couple measures that still have yet to hit the books. That number is right at about $350,000 remaining. As a town, we're doing incredibly well. We have focused on stabilization and put into place a number of stabilization funds that have put us in a position to be able to have flexibility when austere times might come in the very near future, right? We're at $7.5 million in the general fund stabilization. We're at 4.4 with the additional $3 million that you all voted in to capital stabilization with this year's free cash. And then the creation of the stabilization fund for special education. Solid gains in the Opportunity Fund. Again, the Opportunity Fund was that vehicle of investment of $14 million that NAD provided the town. Right now, we're looking at right about $519,000 as of the 1st of February, right? So we're seeing solid gains on that. Now, we're restricted on how that can be invested, right? And it is very limited, but the amount is providing us the ability to have flexibility in the future, right? New growth for this year is going to be flat as well. Coming off the COVID high of almost $1.2 million in new growth, we are now settling in at around $500,000 this year. Based on the DOR's formula for calculating new growth, working with Cheryl and the Board of Assessors, this is flat this year. Go back to my comment about the Federal Reserve. We hope that the loosening of rates and the decreasing of that money will increase us and we'll see a greater share in 26, but we're forecasting 25 to be flat. Public Works, again, you'll see what seems to be a large increase in DPW administration, but it's a small budget to start with, so any increase here, but they've had a rebalancing of personnel that they took from an enterprise fund and moved under the administration, so no net gain in personnel, but that's what's kind of driven this increase that you see there. Year over year, we see an increase in the ambulance calls for service. What, 7% this year, Chief? So again, a number of, but right now we're holding our own. We're able to make the majority of all those calls, the vast majority, with the ambulance that we have in service and with our crews on command. And this has also opened up reimbursements for us as well. The ask from the superintendent at the presentation came in at 4.46%. We identified an area that could use an additional focus, and we were able to rearrange some of the other items that we had and brought in at 4.64% for the schools. You'll see school transportation at 5.54 down below that, but this is a net increase of what the schools asked for by $106,417. You'll also see Tri-County, now their funds, we count that as an expense, but it does pay for salaries when they receive it, but it just goes out from us as an expense. You'll note $3.8 million here. That's an increase of 12.59% from the last. I call tuition cost the money that we pay to Tri-County for all of our students, and our actual costs are based on enrollment. In 25, we saw the MSBA project kick off. They did take a borrowing anticipation note, a BAM borrowing, in the amount of $20 million. Our portion of that for the interest alone is going to be $215,158, added to the tuition of $3.6 million, and that's where you get the 12.58 increase. Next year, though, that will go from $215,000 in the capital costs to $2.1 million. But the town is now in a position to be able to absorb the cost of this increase without a debt exclusion. Based on our strategic investments that we're making, the forecasted new growth that we're seeing, and the growth that we see coming online, we believe and we support that we will be able to provide this without an impact without going to a debt exclusion. But it doesn't mean in the future that we couldn't ask for it if it became necessary or needed. But at this point, as I look forward into the next few years, I see it as something that we'll be able to handle at this point.
I would like to make a motion to refer measures 2024-090 through 108 to finance.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes 7-0. It is referred.